Hey there, Seahawks. It's Miss Adams, and in this video, we're going to take a look at doing probability using sample spaces. All right, so when dealing with probability, every experiment has a set of possible outcomes called the sample space. Probability is focused on the chance of one particular event from the sample space occurring. All right, so the sample space is the set of all possible outcomes for an experiment. Every single one, all the different ways it could happen. So we have a simple event, which is just a single event, if an event has only one possible outcome. And we have compound events, if an event has more than one possible outcome. All right, our first example. What is the probability of flipping exactly 2 heads on 3 coins? All right, so this time I have 3 coins, and I want to know what's the chances of getting exactly 2 heads. So I want to list out the sample space, which is all of the possible outcomes that I could get with 3 coins. All right, so I could have heads, then heads, then heads. I could get 3 heads in a row. I could get 2 heads, then the tails. I could get a heads, then a tails, then a heads. I could get a heads, then 2 tails. I could get a tails, then 2 heads. I could get tails, then heads, then tails. I could do tails, tails, heads. Or I could get all 3 tails. Okay, so just listing out all of the different possibilities. All right, so now I'm looking for exactly 2 heads. This one has 2 heads, this one has 2 heads, and this one has 2 heads. And that's it out of all of the 8 options. So the probability of exactly 2 heads is 3 out of 8. Okay, which you could leave as that, or you can change to a percentage by doing 3 divided by 8 and then moving the decimal 2 places or timesing it by 100. It's 37.5%. All right, example 2. What is the probability of rolling doubles with 2 6-sided die? So we're rolling 2 dice, and I want to know what's the probability of getting doubles. So I need to list out all my possible outcomes. Well, each die has 6 outcomes. Okay, so I'm going to make this table here. I have die 1, and the options are 1 through 6. I have die 2, and the options are 1 through 6. Okay, so I could roll a 1 and a 1, a 2 and a 1, a 3 and a 1, a 4 and a 1, a 5 and a 1, a 6 and a 1. Okay, so you're just going to go through this table. Some other examples. I could roll a 2 on die 1 and a 4 on die 2. So a 2 and a 4 on die 1, a 3 on die 2. Okay, so this is just how these are coming together to make these little outcomes. All right, so here's all my doubles. I could do a 2 and a 2, a 3 and a 3, a 4 and a 4, a 5 and a 5, a 6 and a 6. Okay, and then I could fill in the rest of my possible outcomes. All right, so here's all of my doubles. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 doubles out of 36 possible outcomes. So the probability of getting a double is 6 out of 36, which works out to 1/6, or approximately 16.7%. All right, example 3. What is the probability of drawing a queen of hearts from a deck of cards? All right, so I have this deck of cards. Here is my sample space. So I put all of the possibilities, all 52 cards in the deck. That's my sample space. Queen of hearts, there's only one of those out of all 52. All right, so that's approximately 1.9%. What is the probability of drawing a queen from the deck of cards? Well, there's 4 queens, and again, there's 52 cards in a deck, so this is 7.7% approximately. Okay, so the sample space is all of those possible outcomes, all of the different cards in that deck of cards. All right, go Seahawks.